Hi, thank you so much for being on Voices in Transformation, Willem and Jennifer. Thanks for being here. Now, I'm going to start with you, Willem, because you're the new Chief Supply Chain Officer, and I'm sure that there are exciting times ahead. I'd like to ask you a little bit about net productivity. So, why is net productivity so important for your team and your business? And I guess, is this a new approach?
Yeah, no, thanks, Maria. Thanks for the question and a pleasure to be here. Net productivity is very important for Unilever. If we look at the strategy that Unilever has set out, which is called the Growth Action Plan 2030, then we have very clearly set out what are the things that we want to do, what are the brands that we want to focus on and invest behind, what is the technologies that we want to invest behind to bring them to scale in the years to come, what is the premiumization we want to do, the innovations that we want to bring in. Now, all of these require significant investment from Unilever in the years to come, and that's where net productivity comes in. Because net productivity in Unilever is providing the funds to invest behind everything that we do in our brands, in our people, and in technology. And that's where it's a little bit like the growth action plan is starting with net productivity. When these funds become available, we can start everything else.
Jennifer, and as the Chief Supply Chain Officer for the foods business, how have you been integrating tech and AI in your operations? And how is this tech accelerating efficiencies and helping you build up your bank of gross margin?
So I may just take two examples very quickly. One is on the CIP, the cleaning process, which is quite critical for food, the manufacturing, the process. But for most of the CIP process in conventional, is actually quite fixed and do not have a real-time tracking of the CIP conditions. Thus, it results a kind of the high water usage, high chemical usage, steam, and also a poor the OEE. Then to tackle that, we actually use a kind of the AI-enabled CIP optimization by utilize a high-end spectrophotometers in forward and return lines. Then we be able to have a completely real-time visibility and understanding of the data and to tracking the suspended particles, haze, color, and grains in the real time. So with this adoption of the solution, we're able to actually to reduce the CIP process time by 20%. Thus, more than 20% of the savings in account of energy, water, and wastewater treatment, with more than 100 bps of the OEE, the improvement, and with less than 1 year payback of the things. The another example is that a kind of the optimized and advanced process of the mayo making. You know that as Unilever Food, we make our the mayonnaise. It's kind of quite close as a wine making and also the ViT the process, and it's highly dependent on the experience and the knowledge for the individuals. Thus, it also result a high offline the process and also result in a kind of inconsistency of the product, like the viscosity, the variation, and all those type of things. And we also create a kind of the AI models and create a digital twin of the process to try to decoding and prescribe the parameters to ensure the continuity of the process and also to optimize the whole delivery. By doing that, we can actually have 75% reduction in viscosity variation and achieve consistency of our product, and also gain 10% extra capacity, and also to reduce our waste by 15%. So I have to say digital and AI is make a huge difference in our productivity in the actual operations.
And those are real concrete examples. So thanks so much. I appreciate that. Willem, you've made a solid case for integrating tech in your operations to drive efficiencies and optimize savings. Can you take us through the impact you've seen across Unilever so far?
Yeah, no, so technology is really what we see as the next frontier to make two things basically. We look at our existing processes that we have and how can we make them better and more efficient. And secondly, technology is allowing us to do things that were simply impossible to do before. So it's really pushing us to the next S curve, such to say. So if I look at existing processes and making them better, if I look at, for example, how we do the forecasting of our material prices, we have very complex value chains, as many companies have that, where you have different components being made by different partners and they move from one part of the value chain to the next. And it becomes quite difficult to do the forecasting of all of these components in different parts of the world based on what's happening in the commodity markets. Now, technology is allowing us to do that in a way that is more efficient, faster, and I mean really faster. Instead of that taking a couple of weeks, it's now taking us less than 2 hours to actually make these forecasts for a full value chain. And that allows you as well to do optimizations that you never could do before. It allows you to optimize in real time the sourcing locations where you take specific materials from. Now that is great, where you see a step change in the performance of the processes that we have today, and really leading to differentiated results. And many of the results that Jennifer was alluding to. Now, if I translate that back into what that means for the costs that we pay, the agility that we have in our sourcing networks, the resilience that we can build in by having clarity on where we can source from when. It all changes with a step change what we could do today over our existing processes, but also new processes. So if I think of, for example, the demand forecasting that we currently do in Mexico, we work there together with one of our key customers, with Walmart, to use the sellout data of the different stores and then have an AI agent over that is actually allowing us to do forecasting at the store SKU sellout based level, that allows you to optimize not just our own operations but the operations of our customer as well. And that leads to very different results that we can offer to finally our consumers. Now, the processes that we had before allowed us only to go as far as our own distribution centers, or maybe up to the distribution center of our customers. Now we're able to integrate the full value chain and really get the differentiated results that, I would say, because of the quantity of data and the amount of analysis that is needed, was simply impossible to do before.
Well, that's quite significant. And how do you maintain the entrepreneurial spirit in a company that is as large and complex as Unilever?
So, you touch on, Maria, you touch on something that is very core to the values of Unilever. And one of the reasons that, well, for over 25 years, I've been working with this company now. If I tell you about the values that we have as a company, then I think pioneering, besides respect, integrity, and responsibility, are really the four core values that we have as a company. So pioneering, what you asked for, is really part of the values that we have as a company. And I think that already comes back from, the history that we have as a company, where this started with the Lever brothers in the UK, and the Margarine Union in the Netherlands, that came together to make sure that through the buying of the oils that were needed for both, they had better scale, better resilience, and better prices, and could offer high quality products at lower cost to consumers. And how that business expanded, how our business has expanded over time, and also why we have such a large footprint in developing and emerging markets today, despite having started in the UK and the Netherlands, is exactly because of that pioneering spirit, where teams that have started up businesses in different markets, through that pioneering spirit, have been able to grow these out over time to the very large businesses that we have in some of our D&E markets today. And I see that still very much as something that, throughout my career, or in the job that I have today, but also the jobs that I've done in the past, is something that is very pioneering, is something very much valued within Unilever. Now, it's valued, of course, that new ideas and bringing these to life and showing what these can bring is very much valued. But ultimately, it is about scaling these up and making sure that they make a big a difference for our business. And we see that happening in sustainability, the work that we do in climate, in nature, in plastics, or in livelihoods, for example. But I was talking earlier about the importance of innovations in our strategy. And if I look at the pioneering that happens there to come to really bigger innovations in each of our business groups, or the work that is happening on social first demand creation, and some really innovative work streams that are happening there with the marketing teams, that is all driven by the pioneering that we have in the company. So, yeah, besides being a part of the values, it's something just very much fun to work with.
That you've answered a lot of questions. Thanks so much, Willem and Jennifer, for being here. I really appreciate it, and look forward to hearing more about it.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks so
Pleasure,
much.
Maria.